1st, 2013, and we are here with Tara Johar, who has so many memories of her years with Mother that I would like to begin by welcoming you.
Thank you.
And you've come all the way from New Delhi, from the ashram there. But could we start perhaps with some remembrances about your father and how he first came to the yoga, to the ashram, how he first met Mother?
He has written his own story very beautifully, and it is called My Fateful Journey or something like that. And they had, in those days you could get passes for a certain amount of money with which you could travel around the whole of the country on very little money. So he had his own adventures, and he and Dr. Indra Sen, they were both great friends. And so they both, with my younger brother Anil and a servant, they traveled for many days. I don't know exactly, but this was way back in 1939. They traveled through the whole of India. And at that time, the train would stop for hours at the Villupuram station. And so then they said how to pass time for so many hours. So what is there to see? So somebody said there is a Sri Aurobindo ashram and in Pondicherry. So my father said, oh, that means if we go to French India, I've been to a foreign country. So just to be able to say, it was all in fun, just to be able to say that I've been to a foreign country, they came to Pondicherry. They came to Pondicherry, then they went to the ashram, and it was the evening time and it was meditation time. And so they joined the people in the meditation hall, and they were meditating, but my father didn't know how to meditate, or he was wanting to see what is going to happen. They said, Mother will come down. And then he saw this vision, this beautiful vision of a woman coming down. It was, and that really caught him. And so he couldn't close his eyes. He kept looking at her. She came down. She stood there on the last few steps for a while and looked at everybody, and then slowly she went back. And so he says, that is where I lost my soul and found my life, or something like that he has written in his book. It's a very interesting story and very well written also. So.
And did Dr. Indra Sen have something of an experience also, or not?
I do not really know what experience he had, but he was an intellectual, and he then started studying Sri Aurobindo, and then after that he came to Pondicherry, I think in 1942, and joined the ashram. And my father, since that time, has never missed a darshan, almost. Every darshan, 4 times a year, he was coming to Pondicherry and going back.
So when he went to Villupuram, he went back to Villupuram on the train.
Yes.
Where did he go then?
Back to Delhi. Back to Delhi. He went back to Delhi, and then he had his business, and he had he was in the freedom movement, and so he was in fact, I think at that time in 1942, he was back in jail for almost a year. So then in 1942, he also, which darshan I don't know, but he brought my sister Lata and my mother for the first time. They came. And then in 1944, during the vacations, or in July, all of us came home. I was also in a boarding school. We were all in boarding schools because my father was hardly in the house, and my mother had to look after not only all the children, but she had also to look after his brothers, who were much younger to him and were all in college. So it was a huge family. And then...
so he brought all of you? Your brothers, everything?
No, at that time, Narendra, brother did not come, who was just elder to me, because he did not have holidays at that time. And my eldest brother did not come, Anil. He did not come because, and then they came later. Narendra came later in November the same year. So in 1944, Latadi went and told mother that I don't want to go back. And then we followed suit. If she is not going, we are not going. We also went to mother and said we don't want to go back. So mother called my father and said they want to stay. Then I don't mind keeping them, but I have no place. So he then bought this building in the playground, which had its back to the playground but was opening on the road. It was some historian's building, and it was in a bad shape. He was living alone. It was a huge building. So he bought that building, and then mother got it all renovated and cleaned out and everything, which took 6 months, and my mother stayed back for 6 months. And then in on January 15th, 1945, officially the first boarding of the school was started with 5 of us, because Narendra also came. So Lata, Narendra, then myself, Jitendra and Chitra. 5 of us, the boarding started, and very fast, by February, Urmila, Usha, they came. Then I think in April, Aruna and Arun came, and the younger ones came later. And later, a year or 3 years later, my youngest sister Purnima also came. Sumedha was in the boarding for a while.
And this was during the war.
Yeah, all this was during the war.
All this was during the war.
And there were Arvind Babu came to the hostel. Then who else was there? Arvind Prasad, Paru was one of the earlier ones. Paru, then little later her brothers Arvind Prasad and Prabhu Charan came. And then there were 2 girls, Prabha and Indu, Kachhi girls. They joined. So gradually the boarding became about 15, 20 children. We were towards the end. Parul and Badul came. Parul and Badul also came. Then the Umachingi family came much later, in the 50s. But then things started changing.
So then mother had to find things for you to do.
No, the school was already...
Oh, the school was already open.
The school was already running. When we came, the school had started in 43 December, and we came in August 44. So I have a photograph of 1947, the morning prayer of the... I just found it because I'm working on my book. So I just found that picture by chance. And in that, the whole school is there. I think it is about 40 children in the school. And these 40 children, every day we used to stand where the playground gate is. There is that grass place. There we used to stand in first in 1 row, then when the children increased in 2 rows, 2 straight lines, and we had the same prayer every day. What was it? Douce mère, permets que nous soyons dès maintenant et pour toujours simplement tes petits enfants. And one leader would be called Shishirda. He used to call any child, and he was, I don't know, fond of me or what. Although I was small, I was very often called to lead the prayer. So we would say, douce mère, then the others would say, douce mère, permets que nous soyons, permets que nous soyons. So like that, these 4 lines, and the minute the last line finished, children would just break up and run to the classes. But it was a very short prayer. And I have a photograph of me leading I don't know from where it came, because those days pictures were not common. Nobody took photographs. So leading the prayer, and then I don't know, I think we were not serious about it. So after a while, it was stopped. Mother always did that. If things didn't go well, she said, stop it. Didn't force that, even if it doesn't make them, force them to do. That was not her way of doing things. So that got finished after a while.
So what did you start to study in school when you were so young?
We had very small groups. There weren't so many people, and the kindergarten was in the school on the side where today is the bodybuilding gym. When we joined, there were 3 teachers in the kindergarten. One was the youngest children was Manu Bhai, Albert's elder brother. And he was everybody's favorite because he told a lot of stories and made a lot of fun. And one of the funny things I remember is that Subodh, we got everything from the school. We never had to bring anything. So things were taken care of. It was not easy to get things in those days. So the ruler was, we got rulers from the school, and Subodh somehow broke the ruler, hit somebody or something. So Manuda said, Ali Budane Borangu Subodadiyane Phut Toda. He has broken the foot rule. So that became, and we always, even today when I see Subodh, I still tease him with it after 70 years. And things like that, you know. He was full of fun with all of us. And he was a favorite. Then Pran Bhai was the next class teacher. And the teachers also used to change among themselves. It's not that they stuck to, but officially they were in charge of the next batch. Next older group was Pran Bhai. And I don't know if he was very popular or not, and I don't even remember to whom he was related here. And he passed away many, many years ago. And the third was Pavita. Pavita was an English woman, and she was a teacher, very strict, but she really taught. She knew how to teach and she really taught. But she was so strict, you had to sit this way, you had to stand that way, you must write like this, your back must be always straight. So we were quite afraid of her. But looking back, she is one that really was a good teacher. She was teaching English and French. English we didn't have actually in those days. She was teaching French. So these were the 3 classes. Then where now the bodybuilding, the gymnasium and the store are there. There were 3 classrooms. And then there was a tap, washing place in between, just a tap with a concrete area. And after that was our boarding. So those 3 classrooms, we had the next age group. And the oldest ones, probably between the age of 16 and 18, they used to have either their classes with Pavitrada in the ashram or in one of the kindergarten upstairs rooms, which don't exist anymore. Where mother's room is there, somewhere up, they used to be. Mother's room and all that is the old building still maintained. So that was the school, and we had a lot of fun, grew up, I think, the happiest children in the world, I would say. We were playing all the time. There would be 5 minutes recess and we would run to the playground and we would play. And the bell would ring after 5 minutes and we would freeze in our places. And that's where you have to come back again in the next recess. And so we used to have our own games which continued over the whole day or over a whole week or whatever.
Did mother come to see you?
No.
She never came to any of the classes?
No. She started coming out sometime I think in 1949.
Ah,
Uh, it may be interesting here also to tell that how the physical education slowly
Yes.
took shape.
yes.
When we were small, we had a small gate in the boarding through which the door was opened and we were allowed to come out. And otherwise, we were not allowed to go anywhere, especially the boarding children, not at all. Not even when our parents came to their house without mother's permission. These things were very strict. We couldn't go to our mother's house or my father when he came without mother's permission, and she would tell us you can go for this much time. And in the beginning, it was so strict that we couldn't even eat if my mother cooked something or brought something. Without whatever my father brought from Delhi had to be given in the boarding and shared with everybody, which was very nice. But my mother used to make such lovely food. She was a fabulous cook. So she used to make all these paranthas and we wanted to eat, but we were not allowed. We had to take permission, and once mother would allow us, okay, you can go on Sunday or something. So all those days, and sometimes we used to go and eat in spite of mother's saying no, but that was a little later when we grew clever. As children we were obedient. Then she would, there were many rules for us, and we were not allowed to go outside the boarding. And all day the wardens were with us. They lived there, they were with us. So there's not much we could do. And in the evening, I think it was at 5 o'clock, the door would be opened and we would be let out into the playground, and we used to play whatever we wanted in the evenings. And our first sports teacher was Nirmalda. I do not know if you have him on the list. He was a very interesting character. He was in charge of some gardens. Jyotinda, Nirmalda, Parichanda, 3 garden in charges, and they had different houses which were their gardens. Nirmalda had a few gardens under him. And he used to come and make us play games. And he taught us some typically children's games which were played in those days in the villages. Now nobody knows these games. One game was Shikhela, and then a little bit of Kabaddi, which is still very popular, and Kho, and other small games. So he was our first sports teacher. Sometime, I think it was around February 1945, around February 1945 that Birinda came. Birinda came, and Birinda used to run a club way back in Calcutta. He had a club which was very popular, and many young children used to go to his club, and he really guided them towards a good life.
Was it exercise and sports club?
Bodybuilding and boxing.
And boxing.
Bodybuilding and boxing. And Pranabda was a member of his club and learnt a lot of things from Birinda. He was a student. So, but Birinda came first, and Birinda was very much admired by Pranabda. So Birinda came first, and Birinda started taking the older boys and girls, all these Narendra, Mona, Manoj, and these people, he started taking their games.
How old were they? Teens?
10,
Oh,
11, 10 years old. But they were considered older children. And then there were those which were 15, 16 years, 17, 18 years, like Chandu Bhai, Chandrakant Bhai, Jayant Patel, Chiman Bhai. They used to play volleyball also in the playground. So the playground had different corners, different age groups. Each age group was very small. So these people used to play volleyball just next to our boarding, and the ball used to go there, and we used to trouble them, and we used to hide the ball and not return. They were the oldest. And then there was Birinda was taking the boys group, and Nirmalda used to take the children. And slowly the girls also started coming. And then in 1945, in the month of May, I don't know the exact date, but some mid-May, Pranabda came. And he had come for a short visit, but he started coming to the playground. And Virenda, being his teacher, Virenda told him to teach us. So he started taking the small children. And Nirmalda then started taking the girls' games. I don't remember how long this went on, 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, 8 months, 10 months. No idea. But then sometime we were playing till, I think, this went on almost till 1949. And gradually more and more things got organized. Purani ji came to the playground. He started teaching lakdi patta, lathi, all these Indian traditional things.
And wrestling?
Much later. And Vishnu Bhai came. Vishnu Bhai was younger and more active. And so I remember Vishnu Bhai playing the lathi, and I was amazed at what speed he could turn the lathi. And then Vishnu Bhai was teaching all these things, not only to the boys but also to the girls. So Vishnu Bhai, Purani ji, but I think they started having days and organized programs that on this day so and so will learn, on this day so and so. And slowly things were getting more and more organized. And then Virenda and Pranabda, they started getting dumbbells. Udar was from the beginning, as far as I can remember, was the main brain behind making things possible. If we needed lathis, mother would say yes, and it was Udar who would provide the correct thing. He would do research, he would find out where what is available and get the things ordered and brought to Pondicherry. So then this bodybuilding started also in the early years, 45, 46, probably 1946. In the school, the classroom which belonged to Pavita was changed into the bodybuilding gymnasium. And Pavita's class, I think, went upstairs somewhere. And there these dumbbells and barbells and all these started coming. Then after 1 hour of sports, those young boys who were interested went for bodybuilding. And then there only they put up a Malkam. You know, it is an Indian pole, they call it. And Vishnu Bhai was teaching Malkam. So things were growing gradually, but and there was always, all around, there was so much enthusiasm in everything that we did, because we had no distractions, no bazaar, there was no newspapers. There was one room where newspapers were kept, but we as children were not interested in the newspapers anyway. And there was no radio, no cinema, cinemas also in the ashram started very late. And then there was no television, nothing. So we had no distraction. Our whole attention was on playing, playing and playing after school. No homeworks in the school, no examinations. So you can imagine what a happy childhood we had. And then in 19, it must be late 48 or beginning 49. In the meantime, I don't know when it was, but the tennis ground was acquired. The tennis ground area was acquired, and Udar was given the charge of building the tennis courts, the basketball, volleyball also used to be there at that time, and then the boxing ring and the wrestling pit. Because those were only the sports that these people knew, so those were the sports that were started, and Pranabda and Virenda wanted these things as facilities. Udar was getting all this done. In the meantime, Udar also imported from somewhere, it was a free port, I think from France or wherever, he imported a table tennis table. And that table tennis table was kept in Fanatre, where Udar's house downstairs. One hall was there, and there the table tennis table was kept. And that is the time when mother came started coming out. And she came to inaugurate the table, and she inaugurated, I was not there. So I may be wrong in actual facts, but to inaugurate the table, she wanted to play. So all these older people were there, Amyuda, Kanakda, and Pranabda, and many others, Debu, all these older ones they were all there, Chandrakant Bhai, Chandu Bhai, they were all there for the inauguration. And then mother started playing table tennis, and she enjoyed it, and then she started coming out every day. And she didn't play singles, she always played doubles, and she had Pranabda as her partner in table tennis. But very soon, I again can't tell you the exact dates, but probably from the bulletin one can trace the exact dates when the tennis courts were ready. Once the tennis courts were ready, then mother started playing tennis instead of this thing. But we'll go back a little bit. So when Pranabda started taking the children's games, then the number also was increasing. Every few days new children were admitted any time of the year. Whoever came was admitted. So when we came, I think there were not more than 20-25 children in the ashram. But by 1 or 2 years, we were more than 50 children. And then in 3 years or 4 years, it must have been about 100 children. And as I said, that things were growing. So even the organization, they divided the groups. And they had one A group, and they had a B group, and they had a C group and a D group. All this started in the early years of 47 or something like that. And Pranabda used to take the A group from 4:30 to 5:30. These were the smallest children. And the smallest children at that time were probably between the age of 4 and or maybe the very small children were not playing, I don't remember. But the oldest ones were about 9 years old in A group. And I was in B group, and I was 10 years old. Then Pranabda started his system of making captains. There was one girl captain, one boy captain in A group, and one girl captain and one boy captain in B group. But the A group captains also were from the B group. Every month, 2 captains would go to A group and help him with all the work, and 2 captains were in B group. I remember that the very first captain he made was me and Bhatti Prabhakar. We were together, the first captains of B group. And probably Usha, I remember, was in the A group, but who was with her, I don't remember.
I think Baba Tarini said she was a captain.
She was in the higher group, C group, girls. She's older. So we started as captains, and becoming a captain was so important and so, we felt very proud. And what were we supposed to do? We were supposed to come 10-15 minutes earlier. We were told that today this is the program. So we had to keep the skipping ropes ready. We had to keep all the material, batons for relay races or mats for exercise or whatever, bring and keep everything ready. Or if it was games, then we had to mark the ground, make the ground ready for the games, so that when we started playing, everything would be in place. And then after everything was over, we had to put everything, count. Every little thing had to be counted and put back in place and cleaned and put back, not just dumped there. So all this training started very young. And it was Pranabda who was very, very meticulous about all these small things. Then one day, this was in 1946, Pranabda didn't come. He didn't come to the playground, and we started all saying, where is he? Our group time, group time. Who is going to take the group? Nobody's. I was, I think, at that time the captain of A group. And 4:30 is the time. He has not come. What to do? What to do? We don't know what to prepare. Who will take the group? So Usha and I, we were both in the boarding. We both were good friends, very good friends at that time, and always remained. We both ran to Pranabda's house. Pranabda used to live in the house where today Mona lives. I don't remember the name of the house. So we ran to his house and we opened the door, and he was sitting on the veranda, and he said, don't come in. So we stopped at the gate. He says, I have something in my eye. It was conjunctivitis. We didn't know the word then. So I have problem with my eyes. I'm not allowed to go near children. So today now for 1 week I'm not coming. So you people, whoever is the captain will manage. So we said, okay, B group, the captains will manage. What about A group? Because A group he used to take himself. There were, I think at that time, no captains still in A group. So we said, what about A group? Then he said, okay, you and Usha will take A group. So we were very happy. We ran and we took A group. And so for 10 days he didn't come, and we were taking the group. After 10 days when he came, there used to be a parapet at the gate, main gate of the playground. Small parapet as you enter on the left side. So he sat on that parapet and he watched us taking the group. And then I think he told mother, not I think, he went and told mother that Tara and Usha took the group for 10 days and today I sat and watched and they were very good, they did very well. So mother said, why don't you train them to become captains only? So from that day, our training started, Usha and me. We became permanent captains of Green Group, and we barely probably worked with Pranabda for a few months. He trained us for a few months, and then mother started coming for table tennis. So when mother started coming for table tennis, it was at the same time as the A group. So he couldn't take the A group. He used to come after table tennis, and the B group time he would take the B group. But A group he never took. So he started, and then when the table tennis finished, then mother started playing tennis, and Pranabda was gone with her for tennis. So literally we were left on our own. I was 10.5 years when I became captain. And from literally, maybe he had trained me till I was 11, but from 11 onwards we were literally on our own. But he was very thorough. Every day he prepared the lesson and gave it to us, and we knew exactly what we have to do that day. So Usha and I, we got our lessons and we did. And between the two of us, we were friends. We divided the work and very harmoniously we were doing everything. And so we remained captains of A group until I left this place. Usha left the group a little earlier for her own personal health reasons, but I was there till 1973 at least. I was there, till 76 actually. I left in 1976, but already I was not doing fully then. Anyway, coming back to the story, it was during that time that things were developing and everything was being improved, and mother was calling people to help us with whatever we were doing. So she asked the governor to send somebody to teach us marching. And not me, but the older children were taught, and me as a captain also, I was with the older ones. But there was I don't know what level from the army who came, and he was teaching us marching. And there before that the orders used to be in English. Pranabda and Birenda were teaching left, right. But he came and he started, So all the orders, and we had to learn all the orders in French, and that is the time from when the French orders started, and we started giving all the instructions, main instructions we learned by heart, and we were giving in French. And then it was French India, all the schools in Pondicherry spoke French, the local people spoke French, nobody spoke English. And our school was French medium, we spoke to mother in French, everything was in French, and we were supposed to talk as much French as possible. So Usha and I, we said, okay, we should learn to give all the orders in French. So we told Pranabda, so he would write out the lesson for the day, for the week, more or less. He wrote out the lesson, and then 1 week my notebook would go to mother, and the next week Usha's. So alternate week our notebooks were supposed to go to the mother, and she translated all the orders of the drills and exercises into French, and with her own handwriting. I mean, she took so much trouble for everything, really. And she wrote out these lessons in French for us. I have my notebook, and I have just asked Usha's sister to trace out Usha's notebook. But this did not last long. I think I have 3 lessons in my notebook and probably 2 in Usha's, and for some reason mother probably didn't have time or whatever, it stopped. But this is to show how much interest she took in the minutest of detail, in whatever was. It's not only in physical education, whether it was the garden, whether it was the departments, all the department heads, every little thing that they had done through the day, permission, somebody wants something that was written, and she would sign everything. Everything was signed, and yes or no, she would give the permission for whatever was to be done. And in great detail everything was, and everything was growing. We had such a feeling, and every other day we knew one department is opening, another department. And I must say that behind all this, the major person in the growth development was Udar. Pranav had his vision. He wanted things. He wanted a bodybuilding gymnasium. He wanted a boxing ring. But the executor of everything was Udar. And whatever Pranav wanted, mother always agreed. She always agreed, and she would tell Udar. Then Pranav wanted a swimming pool, so Udar executed the swimming pool, the sports ground, the running track, the football field, name it. Not only in the physical education department, but other departments, whether it is perfume department, whether it is handmade paper, whether it is he was always behind everything.
Harpagon.
Udar. Harpagon, yes. Yeah. And many more, these Honesty Society, everything. He was the brain behind most of the things in those days. And but somebody dreamt it, and mother supported it, and it would be done. And what my feeling is that anything anybody wanted to try new, she always gave support for whatever new thing anybody wanted to do, whether they succeeded or failed, it didn't matter. But her support was always there for creativity, for anything. So that way, I won't say for everything, because there were things that she did not want and she did not allow. But when I mean like this, it is for the growth of the ashram. She was very enthusiastic about all this. So that is how the playground started. Then the other things came in. Then the uniforms came in. Each group mother gave the color. Then when the first day we wore the uniform, we stood in front of mother, and the captains read out a prayer which had been prepared earlier. and mother answered the prayer. This is all in the bulletins. So from then on, when we got our uniforms, I think that is the time when around that time the bulletins also had just started, and even Shobindu was writing the and then when all the forms were ready, then mother wanted Shobindu to see the uniforms, and that is how the extra darshan in April.
That's how it began.
That is how the extra darshan in April began. So we were told everybody, all the uniforms were ready. So the next darshan was April. So in April we had a special march past in front of Sri Aurobindo. The same route, but it was done in a marching fashion, and we were told you can't stop there. You will just march past from his, and mother and Shobindu was sitting there. And I felt very proud because I was leading the green group when we went to Shobindu. But the next darshan it was Usha, because we were two captains, main captains. So the first one was me, then the following year it was Usha. I think we had it twice, or at the most
I think
90, twice.
Yes, 49 and 50 was it?
Twice. So once it was me, once it was Usha.
Tell us the ages and the colors of the uniforms.
It was then they started, the age group of there was a big gap also, the green group was the oldest ones, were in 1949. I was 13 years old. So the oldest were 12 in my group. They were 12 years old, and I was teaching 12 years old, and many were 11, one or two were 12, several were, and then 10, and then there were up to the age of even 4. But then I don't exactly remember, we can trace all these details from the bulletin probably. It was divided into two groups, A1 and A2. So we were the captains of A2 at that time. Now it has changed. But at that time, Usha and I remained the captains of the older children. And the younger ones was Aruna and Kanaklata. They became the captains of the smaller groups, and they used to play small games with them. And the groups did not change until 1954 or 55. So by that time, children who had started as 8 years old in 1945-46, they were already 14, 15 years old. And in the red group, they were already 18 years old. So that you entered a group and you remained there. It didn't change. But then once a big shuffle came, and the borderline children were miserable because they had to go either to the higher group or remain. Some who were asked to remain didn't want to remain. They wanted to go to the higher group. And some who were sent to the higher group didn't want to go to the higher group. They wanted to remain in the lower group. So there was a lot of crying and weeping and all the usual stuff, whatever happens with. But then things got organized, and then age groups were fixed. That as soon as you become this age group, you move to the next. That was much later. I mean, all this happened.
Did mother choose the colors of the shorts?
Mother chose the colors of the shorts. Green, red, white, blue, whatever, khaki. She chose the colors of the shorts. So this is then of course, after that, the physical education started growing and growing and growing. And by the time mother left in 1958, we had already got the swimming pool and the sports ground, and we had got the tennis courts and everything, and the boxing ring and the bodybuilding gymnasium, and the school building had already shifted to the new premises, so that whole area became under the physical education department. All that was up to 1958. After 1958, I don't know how much we have grown. I can't think of any new activity that has started after 1958.
Mother then was not coming out.
Mother stopped coming out.
Stopped coming
She
out.
had her
58.
first heart attack, very minor heart attack, but then she stopped coming out. Then up to 1962, she was coming out only on darshan days for the march past.
But balcony darshan every morning?
Balcony darshan, not every morning after 58, no.
Ah.
That also only on darshan days, she used to come for balcony darshan. Terrace darshan then. These are things that one can easily trace from the bulletins, you know, because after that most of the things are recorded. It's only before the early years that nothing is recorded, which may be more interesting for people
Yes.
than...
Tell us about the classes, evening classes.
how did they start?
How did they start? Yes.
Yeah. I was how old then? I think this must have been I was still quite young, and I was working in the physical education department, and Pranab thought that he could train me better than the school could, so he told me, you don't need to go to these classes, you stay here and work and learn. And in many ways I learnt many things which otherwise I wouldn't have learnt, but I missed out also on the regular classes. But mother told me, you must go to the English and French classes. But somehow or the other, that also did not happen. And so mother started the French classes for me to continue with French. She said, we will read the prayers and meditations. This was in 1951. And I was just 14 years old then. And already since several years, before Sri Aurobindo's passing away from 1947 or 48, I used to go to the mother I used to go to the mother alone first. And when Kake came in 1949, then Kake used to go with me every day to mother. Oh. He was so small, and he used to go and chat with mother and pull at things and do all kinds of... That should be a separate story of Kake's going to mother. Good. But I used to go with Kake, and then I don't exactly remember, I think mother was running short of time. And so instead of seeing me and Kake separately, and before us were these three girls, Chom, Jhumur and Bubu. They three used to be before me going to mother every day. So we got combined together. So Chom, Jhumur, Bubu, Chom, Jhumur, Bubu, myself and Kake. We would go and we would go together to mother. Then that shifted from the staircase and the, what is that small place? It's called the couloir. From on one side was Sri Aurobindo's room, and on the other side was mother's rooms. So that small place there we used to sit together and wait. It may be interesting to tell, we were very naughty and we used to laugh and talk and go on making a lot of noise there. And very often people would come and tell us, keep quiet girls, keep quiet. And then we would stop for a while and whisper, and then again it would become. And we could hear Nirodha reading the Savitri and Sri Aurobindo correcting. And the doors were open. I don't know if you have a picture of the place. The door from that couloir would be wide open. And Sri Aurobindo's room door was wide open. But we were not allowed there. And we wanted to see Sri Aurobindo. So one day I said, I am very obedient, I don't disobey. Mother has said not to go there. I won't go, my feet are here, and I lay down. I lay down right to see. I said, I am not disobeying mother. My feet are in where they ought to be, and so I've not gone into. But that distance was too much, so even by lying down, I couldn't see Sure Window, but we could hear Sure Window quite clearly. So all these things used to go on there, and I don't know if we were disturbing Sure Window. And another story of Kake's was that Ambu Bhai used to carry mother's food tray upstairs, and we used to play in the courtyard under the service tree in the outside the meditation hall. We used to run pakadam pakdi, catching hide and seek and ups and downs and all kinds of games we were playing there. And one day Ambu Bhai went and reported to mother, these children make so much noise. He was always angry with us for making noise, and he would say, keep quiet, don't make noise. Shobindo is sitting up working and you people are making noise. And he went and complained to mother that these people make so much noise. I was standing there and they are disturbing Shobindo. Mother said, nobody can disturb Shobindo. You are disturbed, he is not disturbed. Anyhow, so...
I wanted to ask you before we go on, because I've asked a few people this. I asked Nirod Baran this, I asked Udar this. What did Sri Aurobindo's voice sound like? And each one gave me a different answer.
I won't be able to say, I was too young to register, but vaguely it was a very soft voice. Vaguely, it was a soft voice. It was not, I mean, Nirodha we could hear very clearly, and Sri Aurobindo we had to strain to hear. That's all. But what kind of a voice it was, his pronunciation was definitely not a Bengali pronunciation. He had a very good accent, but I don't think that very much it has registered that I can recall his voice at any time. I can't.
So you stayed in that little corridor there between the two rooms?
Yes, we used to sit there every day waiting for mother.
Yes. And then?
And then she would come, give us flowers, give us tomatoes and all. And then at one stage, it was getting late. Mother's programs used to go on getting later and later and later. But she would follow the program. Somebody would delay her by 10 minutes, all the programs would be 10 minutes later, and the next day would start 10 minutes later, and it would just go on like that. And work was increasing, and she was still giving everybody that much time that was necessary. More people were making demands on her time, and she just gave everything. She hardly rested in the night, hardly. And that also, she was sitting, she was never lying down, she was leaning on the divan and sitting. And then it got so late that mother didn't want us to be there for whatever reason, probably for Sri Aurobindo's siesta time, or I don't know if Sri Aurobindo had a siesta time, or whatever her reasons, she shifted us to the other side in the corridor. Now, in the corridor again, we had to keep quiet because it was Pavitrada's resting time. So we couldn't keep quiet. We were making noise. Girls are girls, and giggling is giggling, and we used to joke all the time and have a lot of talking and going all that. So what she did to make us keep quiet, that is why she started giving us games to play. And the first game she gave us was fiddlesticks. And with that fiddlesticks, we kept quiet for a while there. And we were playing near Pavitrada's room at that end of the corridor. And we used to play. Pavitrada never complained about us. But other people used to come and tell us, keep quiet, Pavitrada is resting. So we started with fiddlesticks, then she brought us one flying hats, a game, then she brought us a few more games. There was a corner, I need to go and see if that corner has still, because Kumud wouldn't let anybody touch, so I didn't, but now I think I will go up and see if all the games are. still in that corner or not. And it is in that continuation of that she started the flower game. She made everything into a lesson, something to learn, something to grow. So although she started with those games, she brought us the first, then she made the game of, with her own handwriting, which was very easy. It was the game of precious stones. And that I still have with me, the precious stone games, but there were only 12 cards, so we only had 2 cards each. And at the end, every day, whoever won got a prize, daily. Not one game, we used to play 20 times. So if in 20 times I have won 10 times, others have won less, then I would be the winner of that day and I would get a prize. And that could be a chocolate, that could be a gift, that could be anything from her table. And somehow I have collected a lot of those things also. They are with me. And so all these, it became important for us to win, you know. And then she went on to the game of flowers. She got 12, the original ones are with her handwritten. You have seen them. And she herself wrote the significances on them. We had the botanical name, the common name, and the flower significance, and a picture of the flower. And they were growing. And once she started, she told all the artists to paint flowers. Krishna Lal, Jayanti Lal, all these people, they were all making paintings for us to play with. And we didn't care for them, and we were just play like that. And in a matter of no time, we had more than 500 cards. So when distributed, each one had in their hand, we were 6 of them. By then, Gauri had joined us, and then it was, and Kake was out after Shri Aurobindo passed away. Mother said, for some time, don't bring him, the atmosphere is too strong for the child. So Kake was not coming with me. I joined these 3, and then we had Gauri joined in, and then Parul joined in. So we were 6 of us. And so while playing that game, we had 80, 90 cards each, and we had to find whatever you turned over the name. In our 80, 90 cards, we had to be able to take that out very fast. And we became the experts on the significance of flowers. Everybody in the ashram who wanted to know the name of a flower would come to us. We were the experts, we were the authority. Because while writing the names, it all went to Mother. Each card had been to Mother, and she had seen it and kind of corrected it or whatever it was.
Amal had mentioned once to me that he had painted some 500 flowers, but they were all lost.
Who?
Amal Kiran.
I have no idea.
Yeah, he said they were all lost. But the artist painted them just for your
only
use.
on that size. You see, it had to be that card size. They were not the old paintings. They were all the card size, specially made for the
for the game.
For the game, yes, specially made. And based on that, the first book of flowers was taken out by, I think, Liesel.
Liesel.
Yes,
Liesel. I have a copy of it.
I also have it.
Yes.
Today only I saw it in the morning. So she took out the first thing. Then based on that, you and Richard worked on the next volumes, and it's going on and on and on. It is an unending work. So that is where the actual flower game and my interest in flowers started, which has still remained very deep rooted inside me. I can't pass by a place without trying to identify the flower, without trying to remember the meaning, or, okay, Mother never gave this. This flower was not there in Mother's time. There are many today.
Many.
There is so much hybrid, and you see such beautiful flowers, and sometimes I feel that why did this not happen in the early years? Mother would have given so many more names. But that's how it is. Uh, so that is how the flower game came up. And then there itself, mother said, I'm going to, with the 6 of you, I'm going to start the prayers and meditations.
Oh, that's how it began.
But we did not start it upstairs, she started it downstairs. And now I will need to go still further back, that before the prayers and meditations, already the green group class had started. The green group class started first, and then it was the prayers and meditations that started 6 or 8 months after that. How did the green group class start? As I told you that Usha and I were the captains of the green group, and at that time mother used to go around distributing groundnuts to all the children. And she used to distribute in the playground, all used to stand around, and she used to walk around distributing the groundnuts to everybody. After finishing in the playground, then she would come to the children's courtyard, and there she would distribute to the smaller children. Now, Usha and I were the captains of the smaller children. So, one day, we were trying all the time to give orders in French, to give our physical education lessons in French and all that. That effort was always there. We were never good, and we always changed to English very often. Then one day we told the children that let us all not speak in English at all. Amongst all of us, amongst ourselves, we will speak only in French from today. So everybody agreed. We had a pact. We'd all speak only in French. And so we started, and then mother came for distribution of the groundnuts. So I told mother that from today we have decided that we will speak only in French. She said, oh, I see. So I will also come and talk to the children in French. From tomorrow I will come. From tomorrow I will start speaking. So we taught them how to say what. Comment t'appelles-tu? Je m'appelle so and so. Quel âge as-tu? In that order we taught them a few sentences. Next day mother came, and I told mother that this is what today the children have learned. So she stood in front of a child, it was Kokila. So she stood, this I have written somewhere also. Yeah. She stood in front of her and said, Quel âge as-tu? She said, Je m'appelle Kokila. And comment t'appelles-tu? J'ai 7 ans. So that then mother said, okay, then I will take classes properly. So the next day, and somehow very interestingly, the date is 17th November 1950.
Oh my goodness.
That is the date when she first took her first lesson in the playground. She sat in the children's courtyard. A chair was put for her, and she sat on the chair. And then, but before coming, in the morning she gave me a lesson of the bee. She had a copy, and she kept a copy to me, which I put on the notice board in the physical education department. There was a picture of the bee, and there were many words that the bee, connected to the bee and all that, and there was a short paragraph which the children had to copy and learn. And so mother came, and then she came and she explained to the meaning of vol, flying, voltige, this, that. There were many, they were all with V. Many words were with V. And she explained to them the meaning of the word, and then she told how the bees live and what they do, how they collect honey, all this. She gave a complete lesson on that day. Then the next day she gave another lesson on, I think it was the difference between invention and another word which is very similar. She wrote and gave me, and these I have, they were always typewritten, I think typed by Pavitrada's office, and I still have them, have the original papers, although I stuck them in my notebook foolishly, but they are there. So we had 3 or 4 of these lessons, 4 lessons. At the end of the 4th lesson, it was time for darshan, so there was no class. Then it was time for the 2nd of December, so mother was busy part-time with 2nd December, and she was going away early to the ashram because Sri Aurobindo was not keeping well. So no classes were held. Then on the 5th of December, Sri Aurobindo passed away. Then for 12 days, mother did not come out of the ashram. Then she came out for the first time on the 17th of December. And on 17th of December, she started the class again with Bells Istwar, Tales of All Times. And that how long it continued, I'm now doing research on these things. Exactly what mother did. The first period is the most difficult, but from 1952 onwards, I have been able to trace most of it, except a little bit. I'm making a calendar of what she taught in the class, on which day what she did, that I'm in the process of doing, and then from that I'm trying to make the book of mother's class with the green group. So with the green group she started that, and then she was doing 3 days a week. That was Tuesday, Friday and Sunday with the green group class. And then she started the Wednesday classes. The Wednesday classes, the first bit has not been properly recorded. Somebody has made notes which have been probably corrected by mother and everything, because in those days she could see everything, and there is a record of the prayers and meditations. I don't think it is our record. And then in the meantime also she started a 3rd class with the oldest people, all these Amitadi, Chitradi, Lata, then Suprabhadi, Sumitradi, and all those 5-6 ladies we see around mother in Kati Brasson's photos, Violette, Minidi, Milidi, Pavitrada, Nirodha, all these people. There was one classroom in the school at that time it was the school where mother would take her classes, which was next to her room. And there she started translation of several things, and there she has also done the prayers and meditations with that class. So I don't know, our prayers and meditations, mother's commentary has probably not been recorded. As I said, I'm in the process of trying to trace out all this, but I think in 1951 or 52, the first wire recorder was brought, and that wire recorder was transcribed. Then came the tape recorder, first tape recorders came, and then it was so difficult to get tapes that these tapes, they were transcribed and rubbed off. In the early years, all mother's talks have been rubbed off, but they have been transcribed and then gone. And then later, then people started supplying. When people got to know that they are rubbing it off, then they started supplying that. And Vishwanatha was able to manage to get all the tapes, and then they have, the later part is all recorded and everything. But somehow the green group class, there is a middle period when the tape recorders were already there, but there is no recording, there is no record, and neither am I able to trace my records. So I'm doing a little research on that just now, and I hope I'll be able to link it. It's possible that mother had stopped the classes and restarted, we don't know. But by the time people see this, I may have already been able to find everything, because I'm really working hard on it just now. So it was the green group class, the red group class, and the seniors class. 3 classes. She had classes all 7 days of the week. She was taking in the playground. And the red group class, which was our age group, those literally everything has been recorded, and they have been in questions and answers, entretien, 7 volumes. They are all there. They are all there. And the green group class, no proper record is there, which now I am putting in order. I've been trying to do it for 25 years, but I have not been able to find time. But now I'm finding time for it also, and we are doing. So, what else do you want to know?
Well, I have heard that you set school records in sports that have not been bettered to date. Is that correct?
School records?
In sports?
Oh, mine.
Yes.
Who told you that?
I can't say.
I still have I believe I still have the 800 meters
I
record,
think so.
running record, and I still have one record in walking, and I have many records in strength, which I don't know if they are kept as records or not, like straight dips, push-ups, and rising on the parallel bars, and chinning on the
Chin-ups, yeah.
chin-ups, yes, and things like that. Strength records, many are there. In the women's section, they are definitely records far better than anybody else. But I was not far behind the men's records.
I see.
Like in rising on the parallel bars, I think I did. I may be mistaken because it's so long back and one forgets. My record was 39 and the boys' record was 40. As close as that. And similarly, push-ups, I think my record is 112 and somebody else's was just a few more. But I don't know if they show these records or not.
How did you develop? Did Pranab help you to
Pranav
develop?
helped me. He was making me do through the day. Morning, early morning, come on, 20 push-ups. So I did. But I have somewhere in my book, Growing Up with the Mother, I've told the story of how I wanted to join the captain's group. I was just 2 years younger than them. But I was a captain all right. And Pranavda was training the captains in gymnastics. And I was so keen to join. But at that time I used to sit. In fact, that is the time when Mother started the prayers and meditations class. But then it didn't continue and there is no record of it. I used to sit on Mother's right and Parul used to sit on Mother's left, and all these ladies used to sit on the sides. Amyuda used to be usually standing behind. And then I was so keen to join. I was going on saying, and he said, no, you're too young, too young, too young. So then one day he gave in. He said, okay, if you can perform the 25 straight dips, then I will let you join, because then you are strong enough to do with. Who were those? These were all these Amitadi, Chitradi. They were the older ones. They all 3, 4, 5 years elder to me. And among the boys, there was my elder brother, Narendra, Manoj, Mona, and all these people.
Strong.
Yes. So he said, when you can do 25 dips, then I will let you join the captain's group training. So in 3 days a week, it used to be the captain's group class. And then that day in the evening, he stood in front of Mother when I was sitting next to her. He said, Mother, she is going on pestering me to join this training. So I have told her that if she can perform 25 straight dips, then I will take her. And I started practicing morning, afternoon, evening, night, all the time I was doing dips and dips and dips. And believe me that within 10 days I succeeded. And so I said, now I can do it. Did it in front of him. Then he said, now you have to do it in front of Mother. So that evening I did the 25 dips in front of Mother, and Mother took my hands and happily let me go. And I, like a fool, left such a... we were reading, she was reading the prayers and meditations every day, one prayer and meditation for Parul and me. At that time when we were sitting next to her. And I left that for the sports training, so you can imagine. And we used to sit there and she used to read the prayer, or sometimes she used to make me read, sometimes she used to make Parul read, and then she would explain. But who was listening? We were not listening, Parul and me. It was all the ladies who were listening, and me and Parul, we were making drawings on the floor. We were making her foot. When she picks up her foot, then we will get her mark on the floor. All kinds of things with her feet we were playing. She knew it, but she never said a word. So that's how that is where the prayers and meditation started. She was wanting me to study that, and she started it there. And of course I left and went away. So then she started the Wednesday classes after that. So the Wednesday classes, it was the 6 of us and Chitra. So, and I don't think I will go much into detail of the Wednesday classes because I've already written about it in my book, Growing Up with the Mother. And after that, the Wednesday classes stopped, and then I continued with the asking mother questions. All those have come into print in that book. But the green group classes, there are many interesting things which I have not yet written, and nobody else has also written much about them. The green group classes were 3 days a week. We had the Friday, we had the stories, and on Tuesday we had the dictation, and on Sunday we had the recitation. That is how it was. So she would give a dictation, and then each child's notebook she would correct. And if the dictation was of 10 words, then it was 10 marks. If it was 12 words, it was 12 marks. So she would write there, if there was one mistake, then 1 mark less. If there were 2 mistakes, so it depended on the marks depended on the number of words in the dictation, which means if there were 12 words in the dictation and you made 2 mistakes, you got 10 marks. So she corrected everybody's notebooks. But then that was in the beginning. And as the number started increasing, then she took only 4 children's notebooks that she corrected. And the others, people around her, there were Amyoda, Nirodha, Debuda, and some others. Usha was sitting there. They used to correct. This is after 1950, when she came back after Shobindu passed away. Then she made the class only 4 days. I don't exactly know when she started the 4 days class, but it was like that. And then she had her own pad. Unfortunately, it is so brittle that I'm not even opening it now. Every name was on the it was a chit pad, but she opened it so nicely that the papers were not coming out. And she wrote the name of each child on each sheet herself in her own handwriting. And if a child did dictation without mistake, then I was supposed to open that page and give her, and she would put a mark there. And so if they got 10 marks, then they got a prize. Then she would make a mark. Similarly, if anybody did a recitation without any mistake, she would put a mark. So when they got 10 marks, they got a prize. Then she asked Rishabh Chanda to give me an almirah. And in the children's courtyard in the veranda, that almirah was kept. And she started looking for prizes. And she filled my almirah with prizes. And among the first prizes that she gave me were things that she had brought. It's so sad, but they were all gone. They were things which she had brought all the way from Japan, and they were still in her almirah, and she says, I'm not using them, what is the use? And so she started giving them. Some of the things I have, one is a picture postcard of the Buddha at some place where she must have been. And it's not just one postcard, it was a bunch of postcards. So those she gave as prizes, and then she gave beautiful paper and folders. And then once people knew that she was giving prizes, then the press started, all the bulletins they would print, then there would always be extra photographs printed. It happens in every press. So those extras were not thrown away. Those paper was scarce in those days. It's not like today that you can use as much paper as you like. So those photographs were bound like a book, and children, we were so happy to get photos of the ashram in like an album for our own collection. And then many pictures were sent to I think Surinda. Surinda was not keeping too well, and he was staying at home, and he started doing all kinds of binding work in his house. So all the broken pieces of glass were sent to him after cutting. So it was not thrown away. Those cut pieces of glass, he would find the right size of picture, put it behind, and bind with cardboard and paper, and put a stand behind, and it would become a photo frame. So even prints of mother in the bulletin were made into photo frames, and these were used as prizes to the children. Later on, because of the glass, it was becoming heavy. He started putting cellophane paper instead of glass. I have the glass, I have the cellophane paper pictures which she gave as prizes to Kaki and Chitra and Purnima and all. I have them, quite a collection. And then she would give me, in the press, when they did any work, there were these side cuttings of paper. So that blank side cuttings was folded into notebooks, strange sizes of notebooks. They would just stitch them and give them. And these were the notebooks given to the children for doing their dictation. Many different sizes, different times, everything. And I had to keep a stock of that. Then mother would give me pencils to keep a stock. Once what happened that one child's pencil broke. So mother said, give him another pencil. I said, mother, my stock is over. Your stock is over? But this should never happen. You must keep an eye. You must be conscious of everything that is needed for the class, and you should provide it on time. So the next day she gave me again a bunch of pencils which were there. So then I always had to remember, now I have to ask for notebooks, now I have to ask for pencils, and so on. So it was quite a learning experience for me, because she made me responsible. I had to make sure that I bring out enough prizes outside for her to select when she's sitting in the class. Today, you never know how many prizes she will give that day. So, and she liked to choose for every child. It was not that I could select the prize and give her. Never. I had to show her, mother, this is there, this is there, this is there. And then she would look at everything, and then she'd say, okay, give me that. And sometimes she remembered what she had given me, and she said, I gave you that, you bring that from the almirah. And I had to go and bring it. It was just a few steps away. But she remembered what she was giving me also, and I had to. Coming back to these pictures were a big prize and very much loved by the children, and they were very special for us in those days. One day, he made a picture he got a picture from a magazine of a lion. And what he did is he cut mother from the bulletin pictures from somewhere, and mother had probably a card or something in her hand, and he put the lion as if mother is feeding the lion or giving to the lion. She loved that picture. Another time he did was that today when you look at it, you'll find it very childish, but in those days it was something. Then another day he did of the Himalayas, snow-peaked mountains behind, and he cut mother and he put her on the mountains. And she was thrilled. She says, how beautiful it is. Oh, how I would love to be there. And things like that, he created these small little things which were given as prizes, and she saw each one with interest, whatever. A whole heap would come and she would look at each one and she would select which one goes to which child. And once he made a boat out of, this is with Kake. This she gave to Kake the boat. And in that boat, mother was also there in the pictures on the round. I don't remember exactly, but something. But in everything, he tried to put mother always there. So then these were the prizes that she would give, and she knew exactly what she wanted to give. So coming back to that, then when the dictations became too much for her to correct in a short time and she was getting late, the others started correcting. Only 4 notebooks she corrected till the end. I think Ranganath, Chitra, Namita and Shanta. I think these are the correct names. These 4 notebooks she corrected herself till the end.
Ranganath was here that
Ranganath
early?
was there then.
Ah.
He came quite young.
Uh-huh. Well, we have to cover a section that is very, very close to my heart, and that is how you began taking photographs of mother. Because this is something very special. Did you get a camera?
Yeah, no. I didn't have a camera. What happened is actually it was Pranab's interest in photography. Pranab started photography and he used to go to Chiman Bhai to learn. He used to go to Venkatesh to learn. He used to go to Vidyavrit to learn. And he first started taking pictures, and then to take good pictures, we used to go every Sunday. We used to go cycling. Pranabda, myself and Narendra, my elder brother. First it was only the 3 of us. Later it was Udar, Gauri and Sudha Sundaram also joined us. We used to go, and sometimes there were more people also who joined us. We used to go long distances on cycle, but we had to be back by 11:30. So we used to start at 4 in the morning and we were back by 11:30 because 11:30 Pranabda had to go up to mother. So he got interested in photography and he got a camera. The first camera, the box camera that he got is with me now. I still have it because he got a good camera soon after. So he gave the box camera to me.
That Kodak Brownie, was it?
Yes, something of that kind. I have it. I still have it.
I see.
So he got the camera. I had the box camera, but the box camera never took really good pictures. But still, I got something to play with and start. And it was so expensive in those days. Ashram didn't have money. We didn't have money. Nobody had money in those days. So Pranabda used to get some money from the mother, and with that he was getting these photographs done. In the beginning, one of the photographers used to develop and print for him, but then he asked mother in the physical education department. He made a small room. He turned it into a dark room, and as everything else, he was a pampered child of the mother. So whatever he did, he got the best. Then he got a better camera and a better camera and a better camera, and in the end he had very good cameras, and the enlargers he got were very good enlargers and everything. So he had very little time because he was on duty with mother. From 11:30 he had to reach upstairs, and he was very disciplined, and he went on time was time. Whether he liked it or not, even if he grumbled, he would be there on time because it was mother's time. So he would be there at 11:30, and then he would come down around 2:30. So from 2:30 to 4:30 he had 2 hours. At 4:30 again he had to go for tennis with mother. Then he would come to the playground. Then he was taking group in the playground, and then when mother left the playground, then he had to go get ready and again be there with mother for the dinner and also for the whole night. He was on duty. With the result that he had so little time that he needed help. And so it was I who was doing most of the darkroom work. He knew everything. He taught me everything. He was my teacher. I didn't go to the other photographers. He was my teacher, but he himself he would say, now this, you make so many copies of this, do this, do this, do this, and he had to go away and I would be doing. So that's how I started learning. And then in 1958, I think it was. No, first was 54. 1954, for the first time, Mother gave a free hand to take pictures from close. Until then, you could take pictures of Mother. After Cartier-Bresson from 1951, she allowed people to take her pictures, but when she was doing anything in the playground, in the sports ground, at the swimming pool or prize distribution, but she didn't allow anyone to stand and take her portraits. That was not permitted. But for the first time in 1954, she allowed the 4 pujas to be photographed. That is Lakshmi Puja, then Kali Puja, whatever pujas were there. And on those 4 days, there were photographers and there were so many of them standing in line, no place, jostling for space, and everybody clicking away, clicking away, clicking away. So on each day, each puja day, there are something like 150, 200, 250 pictures of Mother. And then after that, they had to be printed, they had to be developed, then printed. And in those days there was a rule that whatever picture you take, 1 copy has to be given to Mother in a fairly big size. So every photographer, whatever, it was not necessarily anything to do with Mother or not. Even if you took pictures of flowers, you had to offer something to the Mother in the early days. Afterwards it was not so much. And that is how Krishnalal ji used to look after Mother's photos, and he was making the cards and keeping them and everything. They were not available for people to see. He was very careful in keeping them. Now I think they are in the archives. But then we had to give all these pictures. So Pranab didn't have time. So it was me who was doing most of the printing, and he would come back. Oh, you have done such horrible dark print, reject it. And then you make again. So I would have to do again, and that is how, by doing and doing and doing, that I learned photography. And it is from there, in the 54, when the Mother's Puja blessings started, and I started making pictures for Mother also to give to people. She was so happy that then my interest started. And I would like to tell something, because this is something which is relevant for everybody and they should know. There were so many test pieces that we made. There were so many spoiled photographs and we would never throw them away because they were Mother's and showed in those pictures. So it started piling up and piling up and piling up. So one day I went to Mother, I said, Mother, what does one do with all these spoiled pictures and everything? I mean, how do we go on collecting, and then what happens we don't know in future? Then she kept quiet at that time, and she didn't really give a definite answer. I don't know what she said, I don't remember. But the next day I went to her, then she said that this is what you will do. You will either make sure that the photograph is gone from the surface, which she must have found out by then, that you leave it in water, the surface gets washed off. So either you will do that, or she said you will yourself. So by that time she had probably found out that these pictures, if you leave them for long in the water, the surface washes off. And so she said that either you do that, wash off the surface of the pictures, and then you can throw the thing paper anywhere. Or then the other thing she said was that you can tear the picture up with your own hands in a right spirit. You should be concentrated that what you are doing is something as an offering to mother. You can tear up the picture into small pieces and don't ever let anybody else do it, but you burn the pictures with your own hands with the correct attitude and everything. You can burn them. And the third, she said that instead of burning, we make it that it is not recognizable, and these pieces can go into the handmade paper unit. So I started mostly because it was too much trouble to go to the handmade paper unit and then you to find the right time when it has to reach there, when they will be pulping. I didn't want to throw them there that they will put it with the rest of the pulp. So I tried once or twice and I found that I need to be exactly on time and to know there were no telephones. You phone and find out what's going on. So I was mostly just removing the surface of the pictures. I still do it today with all the calendars. In Delhi, we announce in New Year, please bring back your old calendars. So because people don't know what to do, they just throw them. So please bring back your old calendars. And then those which are good, I recycle them. I put new dates and we use them. And those which are old, then I sit myself and tear them into pieces and I put them in the handmade paper unit. And then it is recycled into new paper. So this why I'm telling is that most people don't know what to do with these mothers' photos and things. And these days we are printing mothers' photos on everything, and not everyone knows what to do with them afterwards, and not everyone cares, and they must be going everywhere. So coming back to that photography, then I learned a lot during that period, and gradually I became a good photographer myself on my own, making prints. And for me, my passion was to make photos for mother. That was a passion for me, and I was all the time making small size. We would make big photographs for sale, whatever orders came, and then the side paper would be left, and that side paper again I would cut into small pieces and make tiny pictures. It was a lot of trouble. It's not easy to make small pictures. So I would make all these little pictures, and I always saw mother so happy to get them. And she would always, give me a hug and a kiss when I gave her so many photos that it made me so happy doing that. So this mother's photographs became a passion with me, and even today it is a real passion for me. I am reducing my work in the Delhi ashram to be able to now concentrate on this, because I know that there are many pictures where people around not known to everybody, and so I want that I record it now so that it is easy for people to find out. And another thing that is being very close to my heart from that time, there were restrictions against which one could not fight or say anything, but I feel that every photograph of mother should be available to everybody. At least the older generation. We should be able to see. The next generation, I don't know if they will care also. And even today, it's so much fun to sit with an old picture of mother. Who is this? Do you remember this? I do that often with my old friends. Do you remember who this is? Oh, this fellow is gone from the ashram. Oh, this person is dead. This person. So it's fun. It's fun. And again, it is always going back, living in the past, but still, that is something very beautiful and very close to my heart. So that's how I learned photography, and taking photos of the mother upstairs. Every year on my birthday, as long as I can remember, mother would never forget my birthday. 1 month before, she would ask me, oh, so now your birthday is coming next month, and what do you want for your birthday? And I had a standard answer, that mother, I want something used by you. So over the years, whatever she gave me, I really kept it well, and with that we are having a Sri Smriti now going to start Shri Smriti in Delhi.
Oh,
With all the things that she gave me on my birthdays and otherwise also, and the prizes that we got while playing and whatnot. She was always generous. So I had in me, I don't know, this archival blood or whatever you might call it. I have kept my things very nicely. In fact, I had the calendars right from 1944 to 1970. All the calendars, 72 or 73, I had all the calendars which I gave away to Jayanti Lalda. Not a single one was missing, or whatever mother had given. So they will have them in the archives. So that way I have kept the things that mother gave me, and these photographs also, that is part. I have so many photographs which mother used to sign, and I used to get extra signed to give as gifts to my friends and all, and she always did it very happily. And
but you took many photos of
so
mother,
no,
didn't
now
you?
coming to the later part, when
Yes.
I actually took on the terrace darshan, everybody was allowed, I was also allowed, and so terrace darshan I have been taking over several years. But inside mother's room, similarly Pranab used to ask me every time, what do you want for your birthday? I would say, you promise to give me, then I will tell. So he would say yes, and then he couldn't get out of it, and I would say I want to take mother's photographs, but because mother would give him permission very easily, as I said, that she had her own pampered children, so she would give him permission and I would go with him. So that is how I would go with him. He would go, and also there was another reason. He had to take one picture for the following year's calendar. So that is the day he would take the pictures in color, and his pictures were always very nice, and he took a few pictures, and I took these 35mm cameras and clicked and clicked and clicked and clicked away. So I would take 36 pictures while he would take only 12 pictures, but his pictures were always in color and very beautiful. So one of those pictures mother would select for the calendar, and my pictures are all there, so many pictures. There was one day when we took over 100 pictures. So every year on my birthday, that is the gift I asked for, and that is, he would tell mother she is asking this as her birthday present, and mother would also give me my birthday present. And so these pictures were all taken on my birthday only, from 1967, 68, 69, 70, not 68, sorry, 69, 70, 71, 72. They're all on my birthday. And then things would happen. Somebody gave mother a golden crown for her birthday, and Dyuman Bhai wanted that mother should wear a sari again in 1972, Shobindo's centenary year. Mother should wear a sari again and wear that golden crown and take pictures. So those, again, then I joined with Pranab to take pictures. He would, as I said, he used to take less. I used to take more. So we took those pictures. Then when Indira Gandhi came, he was told to take pictures, so I joined him. When the President of India, Giri, came, Pranab was asked to take pictures, I joined him. So that way there were occasions. Then on my own also, my father was coming. My father said, I want my photograph with mother. I said, it doesn't happen. He said, why do you say it doesn't happen? Why don't you ask mother? So I said, I went to mother, I said, my father wants me to take pictures of him with you. She said, I will not pose, but when he is there, you can take pictures. And she gave me permission. So she gave me permission independent of Pranab also several times. Like with my father, I have taken pictures. With Anil, I have taken pictures. And with Anil, she herself made him come and sit on her side and said, now you take us together. Because I would get mother, but very little of Anil while I was taking pictures. But for one picture, she asked him to sit on her side and take a picture. Then I have taken pictures of when Pranjal, my nephew, Jitendra's son, was exactly 3 months old. He was born on 29/11 at 11:29. And on 29 February, he was exactly 3 months old. So I told mother, I said that we would like to bring this 3-month-old child to you at that time, at 11:29. So she called us at 11:15, and we were there till little after 12 with her. And I have photos of him on mother's lap. Then Purnima's son, that was a bit difficult. When Purnima's son was born here in Pondicherry, my sister Purnima, and it was his first birthday. And I told Pranabda, I said, please ask mother if I can take his picture with mother. He was such a sweet child. Then Pranabda said, I am not going to ask, because this is, now mother doesn't see children below a certain age, so I will not take picture, I will not even ask to bring the child to mother, because it's not allowed. Whatever is the rule is the rule. He said, I went to Champaklaji. I said, Champaklaji, please ask. He says, no, I will not ask. It is not allowed, children below 3 or 4 or whatever it was. He didn't ask. So I said, I will write a letter. I wrote a letter to mother and I gave it to Vasudha Ben. I said, Vasudha Ben, please hand it over. But Purnima's child I will certainly see, she said. So, and certainly Tara can come with her camera. And that's how I went and took Purnima's child also with mother. Then actually before the first pictures I took of mother, I think they are in 1967, which I took independent of Pranabda, is 1967, is when I asked my brother for a Rolleiflex camera. And Theodora was coming from Germany, and they were very great friends, Eckhard and my brother. So Eckhard told, my Anil told Eckhard, please bring a Rolleiflex camera for Tara. I will pay you for it in India. And because in those days, if I had to bring, or anybody had to bring, they would have to smuggle it in any Indian. But they could bring, these foreigners could bring their own cameras. So he brought the camera through, didn't have to pay the customs duty. And then I got the camera on the, Theodora was coming for her birthday was on 9th of April. And I got the camera on the 9th of April. And I was so happy. So I wrote to mother that I want to start using the camera first by taking your pictures. And next day was Lata Di's birthday. So mother said, come with Lata. And so I went there and I tried to adjust the lights. She said, no, as it is, you take pictures, nothing more. So no lighting was adjusted, nothing I could do. So as it is, a Rolleiflex camera has 12 shots. So I started with Lata Di's pictures. I took 10 of her pictures. And then I said, Mother, can I please take your photo alone? She said, only one. So I took a close-up of mother, and I clicked, and it was all right. And then I tried to disobey her, and I clicked the second one also. And believe it or not, it came blank. Absolutely blank, which can't happen in a Rolleiflex camera. Till today, I don't know how it happened. She said only one, and only one picture came. The last one did not come. That was my first close-up pictures of mother with Lata, with my own camera. After that, of course, on my birthdays and all, I took so many, and my family with mother. So that's how I started taking pictures, and every time I took pictures, or even with Pranabda's pictures, I developed, printed. Mother's copies were given to her. Then when there were many pictures, she would select that these are good, these I want to distribute. She would select and put them aside, and I would note down the numbers, because I always numbered the negatives so that it was easy for me to find. So these numbers I want for myself to give to people. These numbers can all go for sale also. These numbers, they can be shown. These, she said, you put them aside. It was not that she rejected anything. She wrote to me afterwards that nothing is rejected. But she categorized them. And I still have 2 envelopes. In one, selected is written, which means the ones she wants, she has selected for herself, and the other one. So that's how I started photography, and that's how my interest came. And then afterwards I have done nothing but click photography, not serious photography. In Delhi also I made my own dark room, and I started scanning all the photographs that I didn't have in my collection. I've scanned many pictures. I've almost 10,000. Another thing that with photography I used to do, as I said, I was passionately fond of mother's pictures. Over many years, long before I started doing photography, long before I started taking mother's pictures, every year I used to make a gift for myself on my birthday. I used to make an album of mother's photographs for myself, gifting it to myself. And I used to take it to mother, and she used to see every picture with great interest. And I always had a card on the side on which she would write to Tara with love and blessings or whatever, sometimes message, sometimes something. And she would sign it and put my birthday date on that card. And so that album I had. And these pictures were taken by anybody. I was not taking in those days. So I have photographs taken by Chimman, photographs taken by Vidyavrat, photographs taken by Venkatesh, and all album. I have a whole almirah full of albums. So these albums I started copying when I went to Delhi. And these are the albums which now I have scanned, and I have made a collection of almost 10,000 pictures of mother. And if I get any rare picture, I am still adding to it. I have put it on the net now. Yes, it is called, it is in shobindoashram.net, and it goes as Mother's Photo Archives. But we have put it, what do you say, low
resolution.
Very low resolution. So that people can see.
Copy,
It is on this size. You can enlarge at the most, say 3 inches or something, and you can see, but they cannot make enlargements. But someday I want to put it on high resolution and let the whole world have it. This is what I want to do. But let me finish the work first. Let it be this much. Then I have to make the trustees agree also. They should be this thing. Or when the
Copyright.
6th copyright is finished,
That's right.
then I will do. But just now it is this what I am doing.
Do you take photographs of flowers?
I love taking photographs of flowers. I do take and I do get. I'm having problems with my eyes. Otherwise, I'm keeping quite fit, but my eyes are giving problems. I have glaucoma, and I have problem focusing, and so when I take 20 pictures, half of them are out of focus. So this is what is happening. But I still continue taking, and I have some very lovely pictures of flowers that I have with me also. But I'm not a serious photographer anymore. But once you have learnt, you know how to compose, you know how to take. So, and I have now taken the easiest to. Today all cameras are like computers, and I find it very difficult to use all these complicated things. So I have taken a very simple camera, which is a high resolution, and I'm happy with that because I'm not doing any serious photography anymore.
In our next sessions, especially 2 days from now, I would like you to share with us the beginning of the Delhi ashram and the whole history of the Delhi ashram. Also,
that is not much that I can tell you. There is not much I could.
Your
really
father
see.
began?
My father started. That I can tell you.
That you can
But
tell.
it is all recorded also. It's already all recorded. otherwise.
recorded,
But I wouldn't. I would like to tell.
there were some things, yes, I'm
yeah,
sure.
yeah. And Delhi Ashram is a growing place.
Ah,
It's not static. It's very much growing, and it is growing so much that I am not able to now do many things. So I am now leaving. You see, things become, and the laws. It's impossible for me to understand all these laws of today. Laws have become, and then the as an institution grows, the finances grow, the money grows, and I'm still a person who can handle at the most 1,000 rupees at a time. I can't handle more than that. I've never grown up with money, and so it's very difficult for me. So I'm now leaving, and then I'm trying to get the new generation to take over responsibilities, because it's not right to stop the growth. The growth has to
it
continue.
has to continue.
So let the next generation do.
Did mother talk to you about money at any time? Did she mention?
Not really, no. With money, it's like this. I'll tell you that mother used to, mother, when we came to the ashram, my father had money. In considering those days, if you think in any way, he was not a rich man, but he was among the few who could spare money. So whatever he could spare used to go to mother, always. And he gave money to mother either annually or monthly for us, for the children, if we need anything. And Latadi must have told you she went to ask for buying toothpaste because the doctor told her not to use powder but to use toothpaste. And mother said, "What? You want money to buy?" She took out a toothpaste from her things and gave her. So we actually got everything we needed. We never had money. I even today remember I was probably 13 or 14 years old when my mother came from Delhi for a darshan, and in those days, this Pradyuda's house, there upstairs the rooms were rented by the ashram, and mother gave our family, my father and mother, a room to stay there, and we were so excited because the standard stores was there at that time. Now it is this side, it has shifted. It was in that building down, the shop was there, the only shop that we could reach. The rest were market, and we were not allowed to go there. And reach means we were not allowed to go to the market, to the shop, but at least it was within walking distance. So when my mother was staying up, we got so excited. She landed from the car and I started pestering her. "Give me money, give me money." She said, "What do you want money for?" I said, "I want to buy something." "What do you want to buy?" I didn't know what I wanted to buy, but I want to buy something. So she said, "All right," and she gave me a coin. Believe me, I was 13 years old. I had to turn the coin to see how much money it was because I didn't recognize money. That was the conditions under which we were brought up. Today, a 3-year-old can tell you how much it is.
Or operate an iPad, or operate a phone. Little ones, I see them dialing the phones. No
Little
problem.
children, no problem there. I also, I have an iPad and I'm doing well with it. I manage all my own correspondence with it now. But learning anything new, it takes me time. And this 6-year-old grandnephew of mine, he stands there and he says, "Oh, you didn't understand?" And then he tells me what to do.
Can you tell us a little of the darshans of Sri Aurobindo? What it was like when you were so young, up until 1950 when he left?
Yeah, every darshan from 1944 August onwards, I have been to Sri Aurobindo, and this is a bit personal, but still, towards one of the last darshans, mother pointed me out to Sri Aurobindo. They used to, from before, know whom mother will, and they may have some sign or something. But she told me much later that I had talked to Sri Aurobindo about you, and Sri Aurobindo knew and saw you at the darshan time. So
Beautiful.
that made me very extremely happy that it's not only I who saw Sri Aurobindo, he also saw me. But he must have seen everybody in the ashram in those days. He must have known everybody. But you get to know only about yourself, and you have to be careful not to get this thing about it, because in those days life was so close-knit that everybody knew everybody, and mother knew every child individually very nicely. Everything she knew about the child in those days. It was not that I don't know what that child is. It never happened. So many people she must have talked about to Sri Aurobindo. But she told me that she had talked about me. So
And I was told that many people, young people, when he left, they would go around many times to see when the body was in the courtyard.
it was never in the courtyard. It was always in his room.
It was always in his room.
The body was all through in his room. It
I
was never in the
misunderstood.
courtyard.
I see.
In the courtyard when it came, it was
Just to put.
just to put. Now,
I see.
I took the first pictures of Sri Aurobindo on those, within those 5 days. I took a reel of pictures on my box camera, on the box camera.
I see.
And then I developed it myself, and it was underdeveloped and the pictures never came. So that was the first pictures actually which I took of Sri Aurobindo or mother. And of course Sri Aurobindo was no more. And the second privilege I had was that mother asked me to clean the samadhi. It was deep down. Finally the coffin was put up, but there was another chamber down, big deep chamber, and I was the last person to go down and sweep it and come out. She selected me to go down, and everything was asked, and she would do.
When we meet in 2 days, I'm going to ask you about your remembrances of so many of the early ashramites. And also I'd like to ask you a bit about acting, music, plays, performances, what you recall on that. We've had quite a long morning, so can we take that up the next time?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Thank you so much.